What's happening, guys? My name is Sumit Chatterjee from the Flow Zone Academy. I'm a flow state coach. This is my first video of my new YouTube channel. And I want to talk about the one thing that keeps back the beginners from getting into the flow state. Now, this is something that I've noticed in myself, in a lot of my clients, and a lot of people that I've seen in general. And it's something that can really stop you from achieving that optimal performance. So first, before we begin, just a brief introduction about what the flow state is. You know, in Chinese philosophy, they talk about Wu Wei, and it's this effortless effort, right? This action of non-action. It's this ability to have this Mu Shin quality. In martial arts, if you've heard of Mu Shin, No Shin, it's the mind of no mind. You're not overthinking, you're not overanalyzing, you're just in the action, you're just in the doing of it. And if you think of it in terms of an acronym, an STER, okay, if you've done any research into Stephen Kotler and the Flow Genome Project, or if you've studied, Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, if you know the book Flow, if you know Cal Newport's deep work, this is all correlated, all clumped into one, right? So this is kind of what we're going to be talking about in this channel. Okay, so essentially, it's about STER, okay? Selflessness, selflessness, timelessness, effortlessness, and richness. Richness meaning not wealth, but richness of the environment, how stimulating an environment is, okay? So let's get right into it. What's the thing that's stopping people? So this is directly related to comparison, and we know we've heard it before. Comparison is the thief of joy. And it's very true. It's very true. It's almost like a violence towards ourselves, because when we start to compare, we start to get very self-deceptive. That self-hatred kicks in, and the self-deprecation kicks in. So this is the biggest thing stopping people, is this self-deprecation, okay? Now, a little bit of this isn't too bad, because sometimes poking holes in your own ego and noticing like, oh yeah, poking holes in societal constructs and things like that, it's funny, it is very funny, and there are certain comedians who do that, but then you notice this as a vibe, as a frequency. I don't want to be around somebody who's constantly self-deprecating. Now, I know I've seen this in people before, and I remember this time that I went to this kind of like gathering or a party, and this guy just kept talking about himself in a way that was so negative, and he was constantly self-deprecating. Every other sentence was like the self-deprecation. And he was constantly getting me out of the flow state. I noticed that within myself, like the people around him were like not even listening to him, because his vibe was so off. His vibe was so off that his good vibe, he was the only one laughing at his jokes and laughing at himself, right? That's why my ex-girlfriend's mother hated me, because I was a brown guy or something like that, right? And I was like, dude, pause for a second. Listen to what you're saying to yourself. Do you really think of yourself that low? Or have you had successes in life? Have you had strengths in your life that you could amplify? But no, he was stuck in this self-deprecation loop. And I'm telling you guys, man, if you're stuck in that loop, you're not going to be able to optimize the flow state. Okay? Because it directly relates to you self-deprecating. It's like not seeing yourself as worthy. It's not seeing yourself as somebody of value. And you're doing it unconsciously, perhaps because you've been through certain traumas or things in your life where you feel like, oh man, if I self-deprecate, I'll get people's attention on me. They'll be able to laugh at me. They'll not be able to see me as the serious person. And hey, trust me guys, I've been there. I've been there. I know what it feels like. And it's not fun. Okay, whoa. There's ghosts up in here, guys. It's not fun. You know what I mean? It's not fun. And the more that you get into that vibe, that sensation, that frequency, the more you'll get trapped in your own head. Like if you're an athlete, if you're a skier, for instance, and you're skiing, or let's say you're a biker. Let's say you're a biker and you're biking down the path and you keep looking at the handrail next to you, you're going to crash into the handrail. Okay? If you're a biker and you're looking at all the bikers around you, you're going to crash. Now, Bruce Lee says, water can either flow or it can crash. Be water, my friends, right? So it can crash. Similarly, if you constantly look outside of yourself and self-deprecate, you are going to crash. Okay, it's inevitable. Because why? You're not focusing on the pedaling itself. The pedaling itself, the activity itself is what's going to keep you going. But if you're like, hey, I'm a crappy biker, can you guys see this, guys? I'm so terrible at biking. And at a level, look, there's always a meta level to things, okay? There's always a little bit of a twist to things. There's always a paradox to things. So I'm not saying self-deprecate and take it out completely, right? Because if you say your insecurities out loud, sometimes it has power. Sometimes it has power. It's like, hey, I'm nervous to talk to this girl, right? You say it out loud, hey, I'm nervous to talk to you, what's up? Now you have power over that thing, that statement that you just said, but I'm not saying it to do it unconsciously. Consciously do this, okay? And notice when you are doing it, because when you can notice that, you can have much more power over that. When you don't notice it, you don't know what's going to happen, okay? You don't know what's going to happen. So, let me do a bit of a recap. Self-deprecation. It's this thing that makes us seem like a jester, but it's not that funny. You've noticed the funniest people that you're around, they don't really mock themselves that much. And even if they do it, they're not doing it from a serious standpoint. Right? Self-deprecation is pretty serious. It's like, wow, like, I'm such a piece of crap. I can't believe I did that. Ha ha ha. It's like, some environments enable that kind of behavior. And I'm sure you've noticed that. Like in certain environments of family get-togethers or certain comedic environments, like if you're a comedian doing this, I totally get it. It's a part of your persona or your character on stage, and you want to be in that forever box. But if you start to self-deprecate and make it a habit, make it a thought pattern, guess what? You'll start to notice that deprecation from others. Because the self-relation is always projecting out to the relation that you have with other people. So if you are constantly self-deprecating, guess what? Other people are going to join in on that fun. Like, I knew this guy, and I'm not going to name any names, but he always used to make fun of where he was from. This was like in high school growing up, right? He always used to make fun of that. And like, yeah, I'm the outsider, I'm from this place, you guys aren't from this place. Right, I used to hang around a lot of like different people from different ethnic backgrounds because I was in international schools most of my life. And so this guy, he used to just be like, yeah, I'm from this cultural background, and it's funny because, you know, and he used to make such a joke of himself, and we used to just join in. And I noticed people would just poke fun at him even more. Why? Because he gave us permission to. Why? Because he was doing it to himself. Do you see what I'm saying? When you're self-deprecating, you're giving others permission to do the same thing. Alright? Man, it seems pretty windy outside, huh? Let me just go lock that door real quick. Guys, I want you to think about this topic of self-deprecation, okay? Like, really think about it. Like, don't just think about it unconsciously, but think about it very consciously, okay? Think about it very consciously, because the thing is, once you self-deprecate, you're setting up the environment for other people to do the same thing to you, okay? And why does it stop you from the flow state? Well, because it's an unconscious behavior that is self-sabotaging. An unconscious self-sabotaging behavior like that is going to constantly trickle into your conversations with people, how women see you, or even men see you if you're a woman watching this, right? It's going to spoil and sabotage and poison your relationships with others. Because nobody wants to be around that environment. Yes, I understand misery loves company at times, and sometimes you'll have those certain people that you feel like, yeah, this person is definitely like the type of person that you feel like is that kind of person, and they're authentically self-deprecating, and that's okay. But notice the result of that. Just observe the result of that, okay? Now, what are some ways to non-self-deprecate? Follow it up with something positive that you say about yourself. If you have it in your habits, first of all, take 3 deep breaths. Breathe from the belly 3 times, and then switch it up and say something positive about yourself. You know what? I can't really do this task that well, but I love myself. You know what? I'm not a great basketball player, but I will be. You know what? I'm not a great reader, but I love reading books. Or you can add the word yet at the end of it. I'm not a good reader yet. I'm really bad at doing this one thing, but I will get better at it. You are creating the circumstance where there will be improvement. You see what I'm saying? So this is a powerful, powerful thing that you can start doing for yourself, okay? And once you get really better at it, you can really, really optimize this towards the people that you meet, the different environments that you belong to, and you can really, really use this to the best of your capabilities. And when you start doing this over and over again, you're going to get into a flow state. Because when you can energize yourself and hypnotize yourself with auto-suggestions, hypnotize yourself completely with auto-suggestions, then you can really start to affect your subconscious mind. I'm unstoppable, I'm unstoppable, 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 unstoppable. It's like over and over again, it becomes like a mental avalanche that takes over your entire physiology and your neurology. And if you start out by saying things that are 100% true, and then you state these affirmations, even more powerful because you're priming yourself. You've heard of Pavlovian conditioning or operant conditioning, okay? You're conditioning yourself and creating a version of you. You're always creating a better version of you each day. And that's what I want this channel to be about. If you want to get in contact with me, shoot me a message at Flowzone Academy. That's F-L-O-Z or said O-N-E. Okay, there's no W. Okay, O-N-E, Academy on Instagram. And shoot me a message or comment on my DMs or follow me. I'm not getting messages right now, so if you want to just shoot me an email at flowzoneacademy@gmail.com. If you have any questions for me, if you'd like to work with me further, I'd be happy to get that ball rolling, get it started, and let's create that snowball effect, that winning streak once again, so that you can maintain and sustain that flow state for a longer period of time. All right, guys? Take it easy. Take care. Flow family. And may the flow be with you. Take care, legends.